remember the first time I told my family I wanted to develop sound-based lie detection technology. Their faces? Priceless, as if I'd spoken in a language only I understood. My father chuckled like I'd cracked a bad joke. My mother shook her head, eyes clouded with a mixture of pity and disbelief. Sound? That's not science. That's some kind of illusion, sweetheart. You shouldn't aim so high for something so ridiculous. Ridiculous. That word stuck like a brand branded into my soul. Better they didn't see the spark in me, the hunger to prove that beneath the chaos of human speech was a truth waiting to be uncovered. They called it pseudo-science, dismissed it as fanciful, naive, and worse, embarrassing. But I was relentless. My work as a forensic acoustic analyst had already shattered barriers in courtrooms, identifying lies through subtle voice cues, deciphering hidden truths buried beneath layers of deception. I had cracked the code. I knew I was onto something revolutionary. Yet, every step I took toward transforming sound analysis into a reliable lie detection method was met with ridicule, skepticism, and outright hostility from colleagues who saw my dreams as too wild, too naive. When the accusations came, false allegations of misconduct, the blacklisting, they hit like a punch to the gut. My reputation, built on years of hard-earned trust, crumbled overnight. I was cast out, branded a fraud, a fool. The worst part? The silence in my family as I stood accused, the cold shoulders, the whispered criticisms behind my back. It was as if my own blood was fighting me. But I refused to give up. I threw myself into developing what I believed was the future of truth. I worked day and night, alone in my lab, inventing a new kind of sound-based lie detection, one that used advanced acoustic analysis, machine learning, and a deep understanding of human psychology. I faced failures, dozens, hundreds of setbacks that nearly broke me, but I persisted. Every rejection, every mockery became fuel for my fire. Years passed. The world was slow to accept my technology. Courts, law enforcement, even scientific communities scoffed at the idea, calling it pseudo-science, impossible, unreliable. But I knew in my bones that I was onto something real. The breakthrough came when I tested my device in a real courtroom, a courtroom skeptical, dismissive. To their shock, the results were undeniable. My technology uncovered lies no polygraph could detect. It was a seismic shift, a revolution. Suddenly, I was in demand. My invention changed the game. Courtrooms that once dismissed my ideas now clamored for my services. My voice, my work, proved that even what's dismissed as impossible can become undeniable truth. I had finally turned the tide. But it wasn't just about the courtroom. I used my success to fund projects that went far beyond my initial dreams. I poured resources into restoring barren lands, transforming deserts into lush green ecosystems. I used the sound analysis technology not just to catch liars, but to monitor ecosystems, to detect subtle changes in the environment, to plant seeds of life where there was only dust. My work, my innovation wasn't just redefining courtroom justice. It was healing the earth itself. And now I was returning home, not as the outsider, the rejected dreamer, but as someone who had proved beyond doubt someone who had turned mockery into victory. The day I arrived, it was quiet, too quiet. The same family who once ridiculed me now looked at me with a mixture of awe and guilt. They saw what I'd become, someone who had transformed barren wastelands into thriving ecosystems, who had turned skepticism into science, failure into triumph. The moment was perfect, but I knew I had to make it unforgettable. I gathered my family in the very field they once dismissed as useless, just a patch of cracked dirt. I activated my latest device, a small, sleek thing I designed to listen deeply, beyond the noise, beyond deception, and into the heart of nature itself. I played a recording of the land I had transformed, of rivers flowing where once there was drought, of trees sprouting from the dust, of wildlife returning, thriving. Their faces changed slowly as the sounds filled the air. For the first time, they heard what I'd seen, life reborn from nothing. I turned to them, eyes blazing with quiet fury and restrained vulnerability. Remember when you told me I was wasting my time? That I was an embarrassment? That I'd fail? I asked, voice steady but powerful. You mocked me, dismissed my dreams, told me I was crazy. This, right here, is the result of my ridiculous obsession. Those lands, they're my proof. I turned nothing into everything, and I did it because I refused to let your doubts define me. A stunned silence fell. My father looked away, eyes glassy. My mother's hand trembled as she tried to speak but couldn't find the words. The weight of their past judgments pressed down on all of us, except now I was the one holding the proof of what true perseverance can accomplish. I stepped forward, voice softening just a little, but carrying the strength of years of struggle. Every laugh, every insult, it was fuel. Every doubter who said I'd fail, they made me want to succeed even more. I didn't want to just prove you wrong. I wanted to show the world what's possible when you refuse to give up on your dream. I wanted to turn your disbelief into a monument of what resilience looks like. And in that moment, standing amidst the lush, living testament of my work, I felt the weight of my journey shift. The ridicule, the betrayal, the rejection, they all faded into the background. What remained was pure, undeniable truth. As I looked at my family, I saw the truth reflected in their eyes. They saw what I'd become, not just an innovator, not just a man who defied the odds, but someone who turned venom into victory. Someone who proved that no matter how harsh the words, how cruel the mockery, you can forge your destiny from the ashes of doubt. And I realized something profound. The universe doesn't punish us for dreaming big. It tests us. It challenges our resolve. But if we keep going, if we keep fighting, what's ridiculous becomes inevitable. What's impossible becomes real. I left that day knowing I had finally closed the ledger of my past. But more than that, I had opened a new chapter, one where resilience, faith in oneself, and unwavering perseverance turned the mockery of today into the triumphant stories of tomorrow. Because in the end, the real victory isn't just in proving others wrong. It's in becoming your own proof.